Can the original writer bring back some of the original magic from the first movie? That's what we need to find out. So, Jurassic World Rebirth, 7th installment in the franchise. Personally, as a huge fan of the original trilogy, I wish they would have stopped there, but it is what it is. Jurassic World, the first Jurassic World was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's just not as standout-ish as the original trilogy was. I think there's a rawness to the original trilogy that can't be matched. But David Koepp, who wrote the original Jurassic Park, is back to try to turn things around in this installment, and he does a good job. I enjoyed the direction that the writer went with this, and there's a lot of positives and a lot of negatives I want to touch on. So I'm going to start with the positives first. We're back on the islands. All right, we're away from the craziness of the streets and the rich billionaires who are trying to sell them off to the highest paying customers and all that crap. And they're hunting these dinosaurs for medical purposes, trying to get blood samples and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's fine, because we're back in the natural habitat of things. We're in that really tall grass where, you know, well, I'm expecting a raptor to come hunting through it. And you see the tall grass moving around. And then we got the T-Rex and the original boat scene, the river scene that was supposed to be in the original movie that somehow got cut out. It was in the book. They put it in this movie, and I'm so glad they did. That's kind of my most favorite scene of this movie, was that river scene. So some of that originality came crashing back, and I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and seeing the T-Rex. And then we have other familiar faces like the Dilophosaurus, the Mesosaur, and the pterodactyls, other flying dinosaurs, and even some hybrid Bronchiosaurus or Brontosaurus, I'm sorry, whatever you want to call it. Obviously there's other hybrid creatures which you're able to see from the trailer. The whole environment in which this movie took place just feels natural. And there's lots of cool little touches that were like little throwbacks to the original, you know, with Malcolm and the Flare. We've had, you know, a couple of flare scenes in here as well to kind of like, you know, nod to. And then we got a little more of that dinosaur horror feel. You know, it's a monster movie, and it felt like a monster movie, and it was great. I think we need to applaud them for that, because that's what was missing from a lot of the Jurassic World movies. On the downside of this, I'm really wishing they would have got away from the hybrid dinosaurs, the experimenting, like gene splicing, all this others. Why couldn't we just introduce some new dinosaurs we haven't seen yet? I mean, granted, we've gone through a lot. The Stegosaurus, the T-Rex, the Brontosaurus, the Dilophosaurus. We've covered a lot of dinosaurs. But I know there's other ones out there that we haven't covered yet. We don't need to be crossbreeding these things. Yeah, I don't think. That's just something that irks me a little bit. And then we got this monster hybrid thing at the end, which, by the way, we don't see a lot of. He's only in here for a little bit, like a scene in the beginning and a small scene at the end, and that's it. And then I'm not sure how I feel about this two-story thing. And I mean that by, like, we have the story of Scarlett Johansson and her team getting to the island for collecting blood samples, and then we have this other story where a family went on a sailboat ride and happened to get into a collision course, we'll say, with a bunch of dinosaurs, leaving them stranded, and they find their way onto the island as well, and now we have their survival story. So we got two stories going on at the same time that don't seem to necessarily mesh well. It's like two very separate things that we're trying to force together. So it's definitely one of those, it should have been one or the other, or at least integrate the story a lot better than that they did, because it just seems two very out of place situations. Now, Scarlett Johansson is in this one, which I like Scarlett Johansson as an actress, but this movie, she just doesn't seem to really bring anything unique to her character. It's just Scarlett Johansson playing Scarlett Johansson in a dinosaur movie, which I know doesn't really make sense, but it's just all I see when I watch the movie is Scarlett Johansson, not her character. She doesn't put a lot of personality into her character, which is kind of a little off-putting. Actually, my favorite character in here probably was Jonathan Bailey's character, who he played Dr. Loomis. paleontologist who gets to go to the island for the first time and see real life dinosaurs in their wild in natural habitat instead of on the streets of New York or something. So that was probably the most intriguing character to me, and I think he brought a lot of life to the character and a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, a lot of danger. That's the character I wanted to see in this movie, not Scarlett Johansson's. That did nothing for me. But this movie was okay at best. It wasn't my favorite. It wasn't the worst. I know a lot of people want to compare it to Jurassic Park 3, and I guess, yeah, I guess that could work. It's on that same level. It's definitely better than the last 2, possibly 3 Jurassic World movies. I'm not saying this is something that's going to stick out in my mind. Like in a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I'm probably going to forget about this movie. But there are some scenes in this movie that stick out in my mind, and it's immediately the river scene. That river scene was awesome. If you've seen the trailer, you basically saw all the good stuff in this movie. Because outside of what you see in the trailer, it's very blah. It's very meh. It's okay. It's details that link the story up together and give you a cohesive movie. Well, about as cohesive as you can get. Is it worth seeing in the theater? Well, probably not. Wait till it comes out on streaming or something. It'll be just as good. Is it better than the last couple? Yes. Is it going to stand out? No. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Obviously, this is just my opinion. Let me know what yours are. But before you leave, make sure you do me a huge favor. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And I'll see you at the concession stands.